Just over 10 years ago, Kia really put a stake in the ground when it came to the electric car world with the Soul EV. But it was the follow-up to that, the e-Niro, that really got the ball rolling, because there was a car that had a genuine 250 mile plus range and a sensible everyday family car, and it challenged the likes of Tesla for usability. The follow-up to that, the EV6, was the one that sort of like took on the style, if you like, of the BMWs, the Audis and the Mercedes-Benz. And then the EV9, their large all-electric SUV, brought premium to the world of Kia. And then with the EV3, the family sort of like car, it brought the usefulness to that. Well, now they're adding another word to that list of attributes, versatility. But they're not doing it with a car, they're doing it with a van. But of course, Kia being Kia, this is no ordinary van. This is a van done the Kia way. Welcome to this week's sneak peek. Welcome to the new Kia PV5, and as always, welcome to AutoEV. Now, before I get started on this week's edition of Sneak Peeks and of course the new Kia PV5, it is of course the time where I would just ask you to make sure that you are subscribed to the AutoEV channel. Then once you've done that, make sure you then press the little bell button that's down below. Now you do that because then you'll be notified when the next video is uploaded and it's gone live. Once you've watched it, if you enjoy it, and I sincerely hope you do, make sure you give a little thumbs up here. And don't forget, leave me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think of the vehicles we feature on the channel, such as the new Kia PV5, and of course on the AutoEV channel overall. So when a manufacturer tries to break into a new sector, it's a massive risk. Witness what Porsche did with the Cayenne. There was a sports car manufacturer breaking into the SUV market. So how did they make it such a success? Well, it was quite simple in some respects, because all they did was they took all the attributes that they're renowned for in the sports car, the engineering, the design, the performance, the handling, and applied it to that new market sector. And that's what we've got here. This is Kia breaking into the commercial vehicle sector, the light commercial vehicle market. And all they're doing is applying all the stuff that they know round about their electric cars, which, let's be fair, have been some of the best in that market space, and applying it to a brand new sector. But of course, the commercial vehicle world is a very different one to the passenger car vehicle world. And you've got a different type of people that are looking at these type of cars because they are workhorses at the end of the day. They're not just for taking families around and going on holiday and going to and from work. These are working vehicles. So what has Kia done to make the PV5 fit nicely and, dare I suggest, challenge the established commercial vehicle operators that are in this market space? Well, let's have a little walk around it, a sneak peek, and find out a little bit more. Now, there's been some videos out there already of the PV5, so if you're watching this, you probably already know about the existence of this vehicle. And I did see it a couple of months ago over in Barcelona when I was over there filming with the EV4 and the EV2, but I must admit I didn't really have the time to get the PV5 done there because I was in and out in a day. But the car's now been sort of shown for the first time in the UK at the Light Commercial Vehicle Show. And Kia have one here in the studio to give us an opportunity to have a much closer look at it. So there's more specifications and, dare I suggest, sort of like information available on the van now, which is why that I'm here, being able to bring you this video to you. But as always, we're going to start with the design. So let's walk around it and just see what we think about it. Well, it's a Kia, and they've managed to break the Kia design language into a commercial vehicle, which, you know, let's be honest, not a lot of manufacturers can do successfully, but I think they've managed it really, really well. Of course, you've got your usual star map, you know, daytime running lights down here. Depending on the model that you go for, these may also include the turn indicators. On the lower specification ones, the turn indicators are going to be down here next to the main lamp units themselves. Of course, you've got your usual digital tiger nose that Kia will always talk about, and the brushed sort of like Kia badging there, so there's no doubt in your mind who that manufacturer is. Charging flaps mounted nicely at the front, so again, nice and easily. This is the thing with vans I always find. The ease of where you can charge it from is really important. If you've watched some of our van reviews in the past, I had a real problem with the Fiat Ducato that put it halfway down the side of the vehicle. Well, if you've got a long van, that's not easy on a charging bay. That's where it needs to be. So it's not interrupting load bay at the back, but you just pull straight into charge bay and charge it from the front. So that's exceptionally well thought out. There's lots of lower cladding down there, so it's the practicality of having, you know, because vans are going to get bumped, they're going to sort of like have nudges and things as you go into load bays and various different bits. So a good practicality of having a nice big plastic bumper there, and then of course all the cooling at the bottom is done there. It still has a lot of tech on it, and obviously we'll see that as we go around it. You've got a forward-facing camera mounted up in there, and then of course here's your radar sensor down there for the distance-guided cruise control. You've got it. But look how sort of like tall and narrow it is. Now it's a really deceptive van when you see it, because I thought this was going to be sort of like transit size. It's not really in some respects, although it's got the height, and there are different lengths available, which we'll talk about in a little second as we move around the side of it. But it's somewhere in between sort of like, you know, Berlingo, sort of like Kangoo, up to that sort of like transit custom size. And there's also going to be a passenger version of it, which again, we'll have a chat about when we go into the practicality side of it. Now, as we move around the side, this is going to be the important bit. And forgive the piece of paper because I've just been given some information this morning with regards to the van and its UK specification, because that's what we're talking about. Because there's been various things already been, information being put out there which may not apply to the UK trim and specifications, which obviously were announced at the light commercial vehicle show. We're getting sort of like one wheelbase size at the moment, okay? So this is the sort of the standard, but you're going to have two lengths, two body lengths available to you. So the length of the standard one at the moment is 4,695 millimetres long, so 4.7 metres long. This is the standard body. There will be a long body, but with the same wheelbase as this. You'll also be able to get two height versions, two different sort of heights in the car. So the standard roof H1 or an H2, a higher roof version. The interesting thing as well is with the van, it's also because of the technical sort of like makeup of it, because it sits on a skateboard style platform, the Hyundai Group's eGMP S platform. It's going to be very easy to sort of like change the back of it in terms of what it wants for you. So as well as having sort of like a passenger version of this car, this van, dare I suggest, but like you get with the Volkswagen ID Buzz, one of its main rivals. You're also going to be able to get one with wheelchair access as well, which is quite important. But as well as that, you're also going to be able to get things such as you'll be able to buy it as a chassis cab as well. Onto which then Kia themselves will start to offer various different sort of like packs for you, depending what you want. So drop side, refrigerated units, that type of thing. There's talk of perhaps even a camper at some stage, you know, sort of, you know, with slide in, slide out sort of units and that type of thing. So the versatility is being done by Kia themselves, which is quite important. Most manufacturers tend to offer the chassis cab and then you take it to a separate body builder, and then they do sort of the conversions for you. Kia themselves are looking at what packs they can do, plus working with other body builders, coach builders in the UK to offer even a wider range of variants over and above that. So that's quite interesting, I think. Standard sliding door, this particular one we've got here has got twin sliding doors. So I think the standard side will be on the near side, obviously. But obviously you've got a twin sliding door on this particular one, which is an option. One of the things with the new Horizon SV that I was saying to the guys earlier about, they do without the B-pillar on the near side, which is quite practical for loading in a Euro pallet. But it's not exactly small in the back here, and you'll see that when we go around and we talk about the practicality side. But you can see there as well how low that height is, and that's key for this van, is the actual load height of it. It's the best in class and industry leading, dare I suggest. But talking to the styling again, look at it. It's a really nice... If you're going to carry something, what are you going to carry in a box? It's the best thing to do it. And it is just boxy, isn't it? It's, you know, there's no curvy sides, it's just flat sides, flat roof, nice long wheelbase, decent upright tailgate at the back as well. Nothing fancy. So whether or not it's bricks or babies you're carrying, this is going to do the job for you. So Kia's styling themes continue around the back, and of course you've got these vertical star map rear lights that you can see there, and they're right out the edges. So all this is door aperture, which is fantastic. Exactly what you need in a van, easy to load. You still get things such luxury trappings. There I suggest is a reversing camera, which seems to be obviously be the thing on vans now. And you still get reversing sensors as well, which are also sort of mounted in the door panels there, which is quite good. Now, I was talking earlier about the load bay height of it, which is really quite important. When I saw the Horizon SV, they made a big thing about it being 550 millimetres. PV5's is lower, 419 millimetres. That is low. Now let me just open up this door so you can see it. That's another thing you can also do, is open the doors up to 180 degrees so you can get right up to a load bay, load in. Look at the height of that. That's phenomenal. That's my knee, and I'm really short. I'm only 5'8". That's my shin level. So being able to load the van, you know, without having to sort of like lift things up from a great height, especially if you've got a heavy load to go into, and obviously we'll talk about payload and you know, volume and stuff in a minute or two in the practicality section, but that is phenomenally good. Absolutely brilliant. So in terms of sort of the practicalities of the van, you know, its styling has really, really paid off. So with those vertical stacked lights there, you know, the doors that go all the way down to the bottom, it's also looking at the practicalities of a van and its everyday use. And that's going to be really important when you look at things such as the passenger version, especially, which is the wheelchair access vehicle as well. Being able to, you know, load a wheelchair into the back of it without too much effort. So they've really concentrated hard on making sure the design is a useful design and it has its practicalities there. But what do you think? In terms of its design, would it tempt you away from the likes of, I don't know, a Vauxhall Vivaro or a Citroen Berlingo, or, you know, a Ford Transit Custom or a Volkswagen ID Buzz? Because that's one of the big competitors that are going after with this. Because remember, of course, the Buzz is available as a cargo and as an MPV, which is what the PV5 is going to be available as. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Right, there's a lot of numbers to talk about here. So that's why I've got my piece of paper to make sure that I've got all the right. So this van here has a cubic meter. So this is the sort of like the standard length, standard height roof. So this is a cubic meterage inside of 4.4 meters. But if you go for the L2H2, which is the longer van with the high roof, then it goes up to 5.1 cubic meters of volume inside there. But even this here, as I say, will take 2 standard Euro pallets in that T shape here. And as I say, the benefit obviously of that sort of like skateboard style architecture means a very, very low load height at the back, as I say, just 419 millimeters, which is phenomenally good. So the numbers I'm going to give you are going to be for this van here, which is obviously the L1H1, you know, so like standard length, standard roof height, okay? So in terms of the cargo length, it's just 2.2 meters from back to bulkhead, okay? So that's what you've got there, just over 2.2 meters. Your width between the wheel arches is 1.3 across sort of like the back there, and your cargo height is 1.5. Okay, so that's a metre and a half there, and as I say, that again attributed to that really low load height there as well, gives you extra height in the thing as well. Now there's going to be various, as I say, passenger versions available as well, which I'm going to talk to you about as we move around the side of the van. There's also going to be on the high, there's 2 trim grades as well going to be available, and on the higher trim grade as well, you've also got power takeoff in the back. So you know, if you're using power tools in the back, or as I say, if you've got the passenger vehicle, maybe in your, I don't know, got a little kettle out the back or something like that, electric barbecue or something like that, you've got the power takeoff there. And of course, things like vehicle to load we've seen on Kia's cars, so now of course it's on the van as well, as you'd expect. But a very good volume inside, very usable space, but the big factor, as I say, for me in terms of it, is its low height, you know, for that floor. And I say that's in part key to that skateboard style architecture. There's no other van in the market that offers this sort of style and this sort of, you know, height of load bay, due to the way that the car is built, because most of them are obviously multi-energy platforms, whereas the PV5 is EV only. Now, the other thing you're going to need to know about is actual payload in terms of the weight that the van can carry. So again, we're just talking about this particular one here. So we're talking about the L1H1 cargo here, and obviously there will be variations depending obviously on what body style you do eventually go for. But in terms of its actual payload, if you go for a standard range battery, so the smaller of the 2 batteries, then you have a payload capacity of 790 kilos. If you go for the long range one, so the larger capacity battery, then obviously that drops down to 690 kilos. However, in terms of towing, if you do tow a trailer behind as well, if you go for the standard range battery, it has a braked trailer capacity of 450 kilos, but 750 kilos if you go for that long range one. Now, like I said, you're going to get the PV5 as a passenger vehicle as well. And it's going to offer 2 sort of like seating configurations depending obviously on your needs. So you can either have it set up as a 2, a 3 and a 0, so a 5-seat with a big cargo bay, or you're going to be able to get it with a 2, 2, 3 makeup if you want it for more, so I dare suggest MPV style of carrying capacity. And I say this, those passenger vehicle one as well, it's going to be available as a wheelchair access vehicle with side loading for the wheelchair, which is important rather than coming in through the back, which can be tricky, you know, if you're in a parking bay or somebody's parked up behind you and you can't get the wheelchair in through the back, if you can get it in through the side door, which you can on the PV5, that's going to be a big plus point for in my book. Now, I'm at pains to point out this is a pre-production vehicle that we've got here in the UK. So there are certain things that you'll see in this video that might not be to the exact specification that we're going to get when the van becomes available later this year, such as things like just the sort of, you know, the sort of like leatherette vinyl PU material on the seats. They're probably going to get cloth all down. So the cloth you see here in the head restraint in the backs of the seats is probably going to cover them all. Some of the door casings here are sort of still pre-production casings, but this design of them has stayed the same, but the material finish will be slightly different. They're more of a sort of a shiny sort of plastic here, whereas they'll probably end up being more of this sort of matte finish that you get on the dashboard there. But as I say, the design of it and the features of it, they're going to remain, so it's important we talk about it. Right, just down here on the sort of like the driver's side, there's going to be a little hatch as well underneath the driver's seat for storing your cables as well. So that's quite handy too. Okay, nice and easy to get into. You've step up into it, and you're faced with something which, in some respects, is quite Kia-like, and you know, from its car point of view, such as the steering wheel. But then very different when it comes to the electrics and the displays that you've got here. So rather than the twin screens that are all in one that you get in the cars, there are two separate displays. A 7.9 inch in front of the driver and a 12.9 inch infotainment screen here. And they don't run Kia's operating system, they run an Android automotive operating system. And part of the reason for that, again, is just sort of like ease of use of things such as maps, you know, using things like Google Maps and things, you know, which is handy for a van driver. You know, if you're looking, you know, on Google and stuff, you can go straight to there. Obviously, you'll get things such as wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto as well. But as I say, it's an Android automotive based operating system, you know, with all your apps in it as well, which is really good actually, allowing a third party developer to do the system in the car, or van, sorry. Is probably going to be the best way forward for that. It's nice, it's clear, it's up in your line of sight. You know, it's very, very easy to use as you're driving along. You know, in terms of that, there's not a big stretch forward, but also as well, it doesn't interrupt your height. They've managed to get the height of it absolutely right, so it's way below the base level of the windscreen, so it doesn't sort of stick up into your vision here. The driver's display in front of you is exactly as you would expect to see. Things like obviously your speed, you know, your lane guided, lane assist, your cruise control, that type of thing is in there, and obviously your battery state of charge and your range to go, as well as your odometer. What you do obviously have as well is the Kia Squircle steering wheel, if you like, which is nice because obviously it allows you to see that square display through the top of the steering wheel itself, and obviously you've got things such as a driver attention monitor camera just mounted on the boss there. To free up a lot of space here, obviously there's no transmission lever. It's the same Kia magic wand that sticks out, sort of like the side of the steering column over this side, you know, where you obviously twist it into drive or twist back for reverse, and push the end for park, and the actual start button is mounted on that as well. Electric park brake as well, so there's no, you know, park brake to pull up there or one down that side there, I suggest. Now, what's interesting in terms of the storage and the usability of the interior, you've got a little box that pops up here. It's obviously not damped on this particular one, but there's a USB-C mounted in there. And also what Kia are going to be able to do is they're going to have various different things, such as you can clip on up here, such as a phone mount, you know, maybe various different little things such as cup holders and things which are going to be mounted up, be able to mount up here, which is going to be nice and handy for you for your working day. You know, things like a wireless charging pad, that's down here. There's also a storage bin that slides out here as well, so again for storing your Mars bars in, for your packets of crisps, so your Marks and Spencer sandwiches, they can all go in there. Plus again, there's more connectivity here with USB-C ports, you know, a 12-volt socket in there if you use the old-fashioned sort of like cigarette style one there. And then you've got the buttons along here, such things such as your parking cameras, your reverse section, and your auto hold facility, which is there. As I say, there's nothing in the centre here at all, so you've got this clear walk-through, if you like, from driver to passenger side as well. So again, if you're doing multi-drops or stuff, you know, you're jumping out maybe the passenger side, that's going to be nice and easy for you as well. You've got a really nice commanding driving position in the car, but it's very car-like. And that's the thing, you know, we saw it with, you know, the Volkswagen Buzz, and it was one of the things I love about the Buzz is its driving position is very car-like, and it's the same with the PV5. You know, you're not sort of like sitting up and, you know, holding a wheel down here. You're sitting in a real car-like position, you know, just looking ahead, and you get great visibility. So as well, you get these little quarter-light windows there, a really deep windscreen. excellent door mirrors, which I meant to point out to you also have cameras mounted on them. I did say there's a lot of tech on it, and obviously you'll be able to sort of have Kia's blind spot monitoring system, where obviously it will show you down the side of the van. That's going to be handy in city centres, especially with bikes coming up at all angles from you, motorbikes and cyclists coming up at all angles. So that's a really good thing to have in the van as well. As I say, there's a nice group of controls on the steering wheels for things like answering your phone, using the volume for the radio. There's brake regeneration paddles as well, mounted straight to the steering wheel. And there's good height as well. It's a tall vehicle, it's quite tall. And again, because of that sort of like architecture, that electrical architecture, you've got a good bit of height from floor to ceiling in it. So yeah, there's a lot of space in here. It's very comfortable. If you're going to be spending your working day in this, then it's going to be a very comfortable van for you. But looking at it from the passenger point of view, the passenger vehicle point of view, so again, if you're looking at it, data suggested replacement as an MPV, then I say it doesn't feel like you're driving, or certainly, in terms of its seating situation, it doesn't feel like you're sitting in a van. It feels like you're sitting in a tall car. Or if you're moving across maybe from, say, an SUV into something like this isn't going to feel like a commercial vehicle to you. So Kia have done really, really well here. There's huge talk of sustainability as well, as you'd expect from Kia. And of course, as always, you get your little QR code on the dashboard there, which will allow you just like scan that and see the reusable materials that they've got at use in the interior. I think it's their 10 must-have materials, and it'll show you whereabouts those are put around the van. As I say, whilst the finishing is different, you've got great storage in the door. You've got the door handle here, which is a little tray in it. Then you've got a medium height door bin there, and then plus one further down as well. So again, they've really thought about it. And as I say, with that pop-up thing in there, plus a glove box as you'd expect, plus that slide-out drawer, there's plenty of storage in here. So they've really, really thought about it in terms of the everyday practicalities of a van driver. But as I say, they haven't strayed too far into the commercial vehicle world in some respects, because as I say, this is going to be available as a passenger vehicle as well. So it's got a foot in both camps, and that is what I think is going to be key with this vehicle as well. So it might not have the style of, the quirkiness of the ID Buzz from the passenger side of it, but certainly from the ID Buzz Cargo, this is a really good interior, and I think it's going to really rival that very, very well. Now, as I say, the PV5 is built on the Hyundai Group's eGMP S platform, and you're going to get a choice of 2 battery sizes in the UK, depending obviously on which model that you end up going for. The Cargo will come with either a 51.5 kilowatt hour battery or a 71.2 kilowatt hour size. So as I say, depending obviously on which sort of model that you go for, will depend obviously on the battery. Now they're talking a range of up to 181 miles on the standard battery and 247 miles on the larger of the two. And those battery sizes are its gross capacity, not its usable capacity, I need to point out. Charging speeds, 150 kilowatt charging speeds on the DC and 11 kilowatts on the AC. So if you've got that faster three-phase electricity, maybe at your workplace or your yard or whatever, then as I say, you're going to be able to sort of charge the van up relatively quickly when on its downtime. But of course, it's that time when the van's not moving, that's the important thing. So the charging speed is the really important one in that. So a 10 to 80% charge is going to be, the Kia suggest, under 30 minutes to make sure that you're done, dusted, and you're back on the road again. So that's quite important. And as I say, depending obviously on the one you go for, you'll also be able to have vehicle to load in the cargo bay, probably in the higher trim level, which is a great feature, as I say, especially for vans if you're using, say, power tools out the back of it, or there's certain other things that equipment, maybe it's like electrical generators that you need to power from the back of the van as well while you're working. So do be aware of that. Now the battery itself features a cell to pack, which eliminates the need for separate modules, and that means better energy efficiency. And given again what we've seen with Kia's efficiency with their electric car range, I'd expect good things from the van. Now at time of filming, there was no exact price on the PV5. However, I'm led to believe that its price point is going to start below £30,000, exclusive of VAT. And that's before the plug-in van grant, of which this gets the higher of the 2 levels because of the size and weight of the van. Now, if that is the case, this is going to make the PV5 exceptionally competitive in the marketplace and priced way below its main competitor, which of course is the likes of the Volkswagen ID Buzz Cargo. The PV5 is the first of Kia's new van range, which is going to see the PV7 come in and run about 2027 and the PV9 a couple of years later on after that. And all the vans are built in a dedicated commercial vehicle plant as well that Kia have established for building these vehicles. And the interesting thing with that, as I said earlier, is that next to that is going to be the conversion workshop as well. So you order the conversions direct from Kia itself. So if you want the fridge box, if you want a drop side, that's going to be available to order from Kia. And the other interesting thing with this, which you need to take note of as well, it gets the same warranty as the cars do. So 7 years or 100,000 miles, which is going to be important to make sure that your vehicle is kept as costs are kept on your vehicle way down in terms of a working vehicle. This is going to be an exceptional disruptor in the market, I think. Now, in terms of the competition for the PV5, then naturally, as I say, the rival that springs to mind immediately is Volkswagen's ID. Buzz Cargo. If you're looking, obviously, at the cargo version of the PV5, and if you're looking at the passenger version, then of course it's the ID. Buzz itself. But of course, from the commercial vehicle world, there's quite a lot of competition out there. You know, the Stellantis group offerings, you know, that you get from the likes of Citroën, you know, Peugeot, Fiat, Vauxhall, and of course Toyota, which also shares the sort of, you know, Stellantis group running gear for their commercial vehicle, the Pro Ace City. Those are going to be competitors for it, as well as Renault's Kangoo as well. Now, whilst they don't mention the Transit in terms of the sort of the size of it, they see it as a slightly smaller vehicle than the Transit. I think this will steal some sales from Transit, certainly the Transit Custom, and of course the larger vans that are going to come on stream later, you know, PV7 and PV9, they're going to offer more, dare I suggest, direct rivals for the huge amount of Transit variations and the Stellantis group variations that you can get. But the real winner with this, for me, is, I say, the fact that it's not a multi-energy platform, the fact that it's a dedicated electric vehicle architecture applied to a commercial vehicle. And of course, we've seen other rivals move in from the likes of China as well. And of course, as I say, one of those was the Verizon SB, you know, the True Nice, which is part of the Geely group as well. That's going to be a rival that needs to be considered as well. But as I say, these electric vans that are built, you know, ground up bespoke EVs, they do offer a huge amount in terms of their capabilities, in terms of their load space, what you can actually carry in the back, thanks to that packaging of the battery. So it's very, very competitive. Kia's meteoric rise when it comes to the car division is well documented. And the interesting thing is, especially when it comes to electric cars, they're not just here to make up the numbers. In most cases, they are class-leading electric cars. The EV3, the EV6, the EV9. To think about Kia as a company that just came to the UK just over 30 years ago with a small budget, sort of, you know, friendly hatchback to where they are now is quite something. And of course, if they can turn all those attributes from the car division into their vans, then there's no reason to think that they won't do exactly the same in the commercial vehicle world that they've done in the car world. Thank you for watching another edition of Sneak Peeks here on AutoEV. As always, please make sure that you are subscribed to the AutoEV channel. And then once you've done that, make sure you press the little bell button that's down below, because that's the way you'll be notified when the next video is uploaded and it's gone live. Once you've watched the video, if you have enjoyed it, obviously you've watched it. If you have enjoyed it, then make sure you give it a little thumbs up. And of course, don't forget, leave me your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think of Kia's new PV5? Would this tempt you away from something like a Toyota Pro Ace City or a Volkswagen ID. Buzz Cargo? Or dare I suggest even a Ford Transit? Would you look at a Kia? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Now remember, we're also across on all social media platforms, so the usual stuff such as Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Instagram and TikTok, we're there as well. So please give us a follow, because that certainly helps the channel. And maybe you're not looking at a new van. Maybe you're thinking maybe you want to look at maybe something in the used market, but you want to know a little bit more information about it before you go and take the plunge. How do you find out? Well, stay on the AutoEV homepage on the YouTube channel, and just at the top there's a little magnifying glass. If you type the name of the vehicle you're interested in there, if it's been a new electric vehicle that's been into the UK in the last 5 or 6 years, then of course we'll have subjected it to the road test that actual electric vehicle buyers trust when it comes to choosing their next mode of transport. And that, of course, is the AutoEV one. All that remains for me to say is thank you once again for watching. Thank you for continuing to support the channel. I'll see you again soon.